If you see a ministry where there's power, and no teaching, they will soon enter error. Because demons will hijack that ministry and give more power, more anointing, but the souls of the men in that ministry will be lean and dry. Little wonder, you hardly see crowds in apostolic centers, in Bible-believing churches. I didn't say they are not there, but hardly. But you see one small guy just shows up with a batcher, put some pole and put zinc. Because you can call your name and call some phone numbers, you'll be amazed at the crowd that follow. And the moment there's a release of the miraculous so much without biblical teaching, error will not be far from that place. Hear me carefully. Even though at some point there were extremes at the holiness movement, there were extremes. Word of faith now came. And this word of faith began to teach men how to press into God by faith to get things done for them, which now gave birth to the prosperity gospel. That too was overflowed. Word of faith, later we had the grace movement. And this grace movement, just as holiness at some point went extreme, the grace movement came and was going to say, you guys don't go through this guy stuff. We are free. See scriptures, we are free. And brought scriptures that were not balanced in their presentation, and then this grace became hyper in nature. So we had people who literally, you know some of them in your churches, who left a church where it was conservative, so don't wear trouser, no earring, and that said that was conservative, no earring, moved to grace, and in an instant, now she has changed. People don't change like that. Genuine change don't happen like that. Change happens gradually. If you left so-called holiness movement, I found the light, you now go extreme to grace and live almost like a harlot. What happened to you is not change, is you were deceived. It is not possible for a man who had drank of the holiness movement to flip like that. No. Because the encodings in your heart, if what you heard was not error all the while, there must be some level of restraint that happens to you. Am I any weakness here? A restraint. Now watch again. So the grace movement took it a bit far. Hyper guys stepped in. So the issue of once saved, always saved came in. Let me show you the slight way to know truth and error by that statement. Once saved, forever saved, in itself as a statement is not wrong. Because if my wife, which is saved, trusting God to live her life, following Jesus by his guidelines, she will forever be saved. What should be said that they are doing is that once you profess I'm saved, I'm forever saved. That's the error. Does it make sense? Let me say it again. Once saved, forever saved as a statement and a reality is true. But to that fellow who is now once, that word once means at some point I was saved. Now the person goes on believing, goes on yielding, goes on following Christ. If he goes on that way, that one time he was saved, as he goes on that, he will forever be saved. So the statement It's reality. It's true. But hyper grace says that statement, but will not pay the price in following and serving. So what they do is they profess that once saved, forever saved, and not following what it means to be once saved and forever saved. Does it make sense to us? That's hyper grace. So what is going on right now in our time is that the holiness, the faith, and the grace is now being revealed in the kingdom message. This is the last move. And this move must be characterized with holiness, balanced holiness, the life of faith, balanced, grace, balanced. Hyper faith says you have to faith it. You can't be a believer and be broke. That is not the Bible. He didn't say that. Not the Bible. You can't be a believer and not own a car. It's not the Bible. What again? You can't be a believer and be sick. Woo! His blood flows in your body. You can't be sick. Oga. Apostle Paul left one of his disciples. He said that I left him sick. He almost died. Apostle Paul that was bitten by a venomous snake and the thing didn't work. He shook in the fire. The Apostle Paul said, we left our brother. He's sick. Pray for him. That you are sick doesn't mean that you don't have faith. Go to the best hospital that you can afford and treat yourself. Live long for us again. Now, what God is doing around now is that He's bringing holiness, He's bringing faith, He's bringing the knowledge of grace. For you to be an accurate ambassador of His kingdom, we must live holy by faith on the grace of God. So if I'm praying for a matter and the Lord has not yet answered, by faith, I'll still follow. Knowing that He's worthy and is faithful to fulfill it. I won't cut corners. If I'm under pressure about living right, I'll tap into the grace of God and I'll be taught on how to live right. In this kingdom era, men must learn how to bring all of this balance together. Of course, not forgetting prayer. Prayer.